Welcome to the Dude Make Something podcast, where we discuss faith, mental health, and personal development for the purpose of helping Black men to stop being mediocre and to do the work to become excellent for God's glory and the good of others.
What up, Black man? Welcome to another episode of the Dude Make Something podcast. I'm your host, Jemiel Calpin. I hope you all are doing well, staying safe, protecting your mental, and choosing to live for glory and for good, and choosing to live in vibrant excellence, letting your light shine in an effective way, to be able to help other people and to glorify God. What's going on? So in this episode, I just wanted to share something. In my mind, I always want to say I'm going to share something real quick, but I have no idea how long it's actually going to take. But I will still start that way. I wanted to share something with you all real quick. 3 easy ways that you can creatively share yourself, like your emotions and stuff like that, as an emotional release valve. Like I've talked about before, every man needs it. You need some type of emotional release valve. And I still believe creativity is probably the cheapest and easiest way to do that, and to, try to put yourself in a better emotional and mental state. Like, it's important. Again, what we think, what we believe will ultimately impact how we behave. And so our mind, our mindset and our mind state impacts the way that we live. And so, I just wanted to share 3 different ways that I've used personally and that I think can be very beneficial for you all, because we got to find things. we got to have an emotional release valve, and we got to do the work so that we can be our best selves, and so that we can be beneficial to those around us. Like, it's super important. So the first thing that you can have an emotional release valve, or to dump your maybe the heaviness in your mind or in your heart, is to write it down, to keep a journal, or for some people, to keep a diary. And I think for a long time, the idea of keeping a diary or keeping a journal or something like that has been looked at as a feminine thing to do, or something that only girls do, or whatever. And it sucks, because with that train of thought, I think we have limited so much of the useful tools and practices that our sisters use for their own well-being. And because we deem it, or, because of misogyny and misogynoir or whatever, and all of these, honestly, toxic beliefs, we have hindered ourselves from having access to healthy things. So I've seen it shared, and people talk about it from time to time online, the idea that men don't have, particularly as Black men, we don't have safe spaces. Well, I can understand that, but I think we have to be real and be honest that because of a lot of the things that we believe, and a lot of the ideas and structures and beliefs that we support and hold on to, we're taking away the potential to have safe spaces ourselves. Like, if the idea of writing down your emotions and getting your things out, getting your thoughts out, getting your feelings out is considered girly or feminine, or in extreme cases, people want to say, like, I think people are trying to work on their rhetoric and their talk, but people are saying, like, yo, that's gay. You're cutting yourself in the kneecaps. You're taking away something very simple and very easy, and that can be very private, to help you live a better life. But because we want to continue these, I would say, toxic patriarchal ideas and these mindsets and these beliefs, we're hindering ourselves from living healthy lives. Like, there's a lot of things that women do that we think is only reserved for women. And keeping a diary and a journal doesn't have to be one of those things. Like, it's okay for you to have an emotional space where you can vent, where you can get heaviness out of your head and out of your heart. And that doesn't mean you have to share it. It can be private, but the fact that you're getting it out, writing it down on paper or typing it in a blog post or something like that, in a Word document, that's helpful to you. Because I've tried to, many times, trying to just sit and process things in silence. in my own head. And that doesn't always help. It doesn't always work. Like, you're just carrying water in your head of, that water can represent tears of anger, tears of joy, tears of frustration, tears of pain and suffering. And you're just carrying all of that water like a fishbowl in your head. And what you really need to do is you need to pour it out. But what we do is we continue to carry these things, these emotions, these tears in this fishbowl, and it's getting filled up higher and higher and higher, and it's up to the brim, and then something happens, and then we pour it out on somebody, or we pour it out in an erratic or emotional and dangerous or toxic way. No, you're supposed to be dumping that stuff. And one of the easiest ways I have found is by keeping a journal. Or, again, if you don't want to use that word, keeping a diary or journal, whatever. Just actually writing down what's in your head. Writing down your thoughts. And it doesn't have to be super coherent. It doesn't have to be super poetic. It doesn't have to be like a Pulitzer Prize novel or anything like that. It's just you getting your thoughts out. It can be done in bullet points. It can be done in paragraphs. It can just be one long run-on sentence. It doesn't matter. all that matters is that you're getting your thoughts out. Is that you're getting whatever's weighing you down out and onto paper or onto a screen. And again, you don't have to share these things. Using any of these creative techniques doesn't have to be shared or monetized or anything. It's first and foremost for your well-being and your health. And again, that's the point. We want to be in a better mental and emotional and overall healthier place so that we can live better lives. So number one, super easy creative way to have an emotional release valve: journal. Either get a cheap composition book cheap composition book from the dollar store, or set up like a Word document or a blog or something where you can get these thoughts and feelings out for you personally. Take the time to do that. And I'm actually working on developing an ebook or a physical journal that gives you word prompts to help you do that, because I like to journal, and sometimes I know it's not easy to just dump your feelings and dump your thoughts out. So you might need a little guidance and direction. So I'm putting together an ebook, PDF kind of thing, or a physical book if you want, so that you can journal and get your thoughts out and get your emotions out, so you can have an emotional release valve, and so that you can be in a more mentally stable and healthy place. So definitely the first one, journaling. The second one, which is very similar, all of these are actually very similar, but if you don't feel like writing, you can just do voice memos or having a personal podcast where you just sit down and record yourself and you talk out your thoughts. Because some people, they don't like writing, and talking is a more effective way for them to, work through their thoughts. Some people think better or go through that process of getting their thoughts out verbally and audibly, like out loud. Like, I need to speak. So all you need to do is grab your phone or whatever, or if you're like into podcasting, you have like a microphone and stuff like that, just set it up, hit record, and just talk and get it out. Get it out. You got to get that stuff out. And again, it doesn't mean you have to go out and publish it and share it with the world. No, you just need to get it out for yourself. Like, you need to get it out as a way to process your feelings, process your thoughts, so that you can get some of that water that's washing around in your head out. So that when you do have the opportunity to like go to therapy or talk to a brother or talk to a spiritual leader, that your thoughts and feelings are in a little bit more coherent place. And it may be easier to have conversations. It may be easier to discuss what's going on with you. But you need to get it out. And that's another way. Just record your voice. Record voice memos. And again, there's so many free resources and ways to do that. You can just use your cell phone. Most phones have a voice memo app on it. You can record yourself, save it, and delete it if you want to. Or you can save it on your phone or put it on a hard drive or put it on a computer, whatever. But you need to get that stuff out. You have to have that emotional release valve. So like I said, journaling. And the second thing is like voice memos or personal private podcast where you just get your feelings out. You get your thoughts out. You do that emotional release. And the last way, which is similar to the other ones, are do like a vlog, which again, if you don't want to write, and maybe you like the idea of actually talking to somebody, you can record a video. So you can sit there and record yourself talking or expressing yourself, especially if you like talk with your hands and stuff like that. People like that better. Like for me, I benefit from that. Like if I am taking a long drive or if I got something on my mind, sometimes I just pull up my camera and record a video of myself, and I have a private vlog where I just dump my stuff, and it helps me. And like sometimes I'll go back, like a week or a couple months later, go back, see where I was. And the benefit of recording a video is that you can see the expressions on your face. Maybe you were crying. That's okay though. Maybe you were upset. You can see it. You can see it on your face. Oftentimes you can hear it in your voice and you can hear it in your writing. But for some people, that visual aspect is way more effective and it feels better. So yeah, again, you can use your phone, or if you have a camera, or if you want to get a little camera or something like that, to record vlogs of yourself. Again, expressing yourself. And the thing about it with all of these things, whether it's writing, whether it's recording a personal private podcast, or recording vlogs, and again, you don't have to share any of this stuff. You just need to do something, get it out. The thing about all three of these things is that you are doing something and doing something creative. You are creating something. You are creating a video. You are creating an audio file or a podcast. You are creating a journal entry or an essay, whatever you want to write. You're creating. And that process of creating and producing something is constructive and empowering. It just is. Like there's research about, especially behind writing, like there's something, people like to call it alchemical, like alchemy. Like you're taking something that's invisible and making it visible. That's a creative process. And the same thing can happen with your thoughts, and you're recording your voice. You're taking something invisible and you're making it real. You're breathing life into that thing. And the same thing with video. You're taking something invisible and then you're putting a face to it. You're putting images to it. That's constructive and creative and productive. And in that process, that almost transmutation of taking something that doesn't exist and making it real, in that process, it's relieving, it's releasing, and it transforms those emotions. It transforms those thoughts, and it transfers that energy into something else. You're transferring your pain, you're transferring your sadness, you're transferring your joy. Again, you can journal happy stuff. You're transferring that into a different medium, and that energy is leaving you and going into something else. It's going into that journal entry. It's going into the audio that you recorded. It's going into the video that you recorded. And that benefits you. It helps you. It gets that weight off of you. So definitely, these are some of the easiest things that you can do. Have a journal. Write and dump your thoughts out. And that can be in the form of poetry or essays or songs or whatever. Oftentimes that's where, when people either they rap or they sing or whatever, they are dumping their feelings and their emotions and thoughts in a creative way and creating songs. I'm not saying that you have to be a songwriter. I'm not trying to say that you have to be a rapper. I'm just saying, get the stuff out. Get it out. It's important. So you can do the same thing with the podcast that you want to record or whatever. And you can do the same thing with a vlog. But what's most important is that you're actually getting that feeling out, that you're transferring that energy into a constructive and beautiful thing. Because we all need emotional release valves. As men, we need that. We have to stop harboring and holding in emotions that weigh on us, that degrade us. And like I said with the fishbowl idea, having it full of water, full of thoughts and emotions and all of these things, and then haphazardly pouring it out on those around us, on our spouse, on our close friends, on our significant other, on our community. We got to stop doing that, because it's not constructive. It's not glorifying God. It's not being good or beneficial to those around us. And it's not helping us. So yes, please, if you haven't, or if you don't do any of these things, and you're looking for an emotional release valve, consider one of these three. Consider journaling or blogging. Consider having a personal, private podcast. Consider having a private vlog. And the reason that I'm saying private is that not everything that you're dealing with needs to be shared with the world. But you do need to get it out. You know, there's some vlogs of moments when I'm angry or I'm sad. And I wouldn't share it with anybody, because in that moment, I'm feeling something or I'm thinking something that's a temporary feeling. That's a temporary thought and emotion. And if I shared it with the wrong person, if I shared it with my spouse, they may get the wrong idea. They may be hurt by that. And that wouldn't be my intention, because I probably don't feel like that anymore. But I needed to get it out. I was frustrated in that moment. I was hurt in that moment. And I needed to get it out. So again, keep your blog or your journal private for you. This is a place for you just to release your emotions so that you can be at a better mental health state. Keep your audio files in your personal private podcast private. Keep your vlogs private, because it's for you to dump. It's for you to get rid of things that are heavy so that you can be in a better place. That's where it is first and foremost. You know, get it out first. And then if you do have a situation, say you do need to talk to a brother about something. Maybe you were offended by somebody. Maybe you were offended by a coworker. Maybe you were offended by your boss. Maybe you were offended by a family member. Maybe you were offended by your spouse. Get your feelings out first. Process those things. Have that emotional release first. Then, now that you've let go of some of that pressure, now that you've let go of some of that overflow of water that you're carrying around in your fishbowl, then you can go and have the conversation. Then you can go and have a constructive dialogue. Because you don't want to just go and pour out things and say things, you know, crazy, just because that's how you're feeling in that moment. That's not always constructive. That's not always beneficial. Outbursts aren't always the best way to communicate things. We want to communicate effectively. We want to communicate constructively. And you want to communicate respectfully. But if you're just blowing off out the, out the mouth and talking out the side of your neck because you feel a certain way, that's not constructive. So yes, please, if you haven't found or started having the practice of an emotional release valve, consider one of these three, or all three, whichever works for you. Journaling, writing, or recording audio like a personal private podcast, or doing vlogs for yourself. Consider those things. All right, I hope you guys found this video helpful, or wherever. I mean, I'll probably post it on YouTube too, but I hope you found this episode helpful. Let me know which of the three you find, or let me know which of the three you would consider trying. And, thanks again, guys, for listening. And I hope you're finding this content helpful and beneficial. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, leave review for the podcast and all that stuff, because I want to continue to help Black men. I want to continue to help our community and get us to a better place, because we're called for so much more than infighting. We're called for so much more than struggling. We're called for so much more than just surviving. And I believe God is working on us in changing us in our community, and it really does. A big part of it depends on us as men to get to a better place.
Thanks for listening to the show. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and rate and review on your favorite podcasting app. Black man, you're called for more than mediocre living. You're here for a purpose, to live for God's glory and for the good of others. Let's do the work and keep choosing to live a vibrant and excellent life. Until next time, go make something for yourself, of yourself, and for God's glory and the good of others. Peace.